Hey, Byron Johnson with Coordinated Power. I'm just going to demo our Coordinated Power Operator a little bit. Basically, the idea of this is that you get an AI brain that you can run locally or with cloud-based AI providers like ChatGPT, Claude, or more. So the idea, if it runs the Ollama, that's what it'll run to run local pre-trained models directly on this server, right? So we can put this in your control building in your substation to run locally, right? So your data never leaves the substation, never goes upstream. Then what you'll do is you'll have some data sources that you connect to it. You got simulators, DMP. You can talk direct SQL straight to a PLC's database. We can do Modbus. And this system, what you'll do is you'll build monitors, and setting up the monitors. It's how often do you want it to run? What local, do you want to use local models or do you want to use OpenAI models? This is the OSS model that OpenAI released as an open source model. It's an open weights model where they publish this and anyone can run it locally, right? So we've got the prompt builder up here at the top. And this prompt runs every interval, sends the prompt to the AI. And again, it's either local AI or cloud-based AI. And it has some memory in the back. So it has a way of maintaining its context and its memory from the last run. And then you can do things as an action output. Maybe you want to generate an alert, email alert, SMS alert, Teams, and even control actions if you're brave. We'll see what ideas that our user base comes up with on what things we can do. Probably at first you're not going to want to actually do any tag writing, right? But let's think writing a DMP tag to operate a breaker. Modbus elements if you want to control an inverter. Based off of what your LLM response is. But the LLM will decide in its prompt response what it wants to recommend doing. So we can have multiple monitoring loops with different monitoring prompts that run as a loop, right? So this is kind of the next level of control. Up until now, all throughout history, and coming to this point, we've done control based on thresholds. We have to define what the threshold is and what the appropriate action is to do that. And we either do that hardwired in a circuit or in PLCs or relay logic, however we want to do it. But it's had to been defined ahead of time by humans. And what this opens up is the possibility for AI to notice things that humans would not notice, right? And one idea that I've had so far is if you've got 4 transformers in your yard, tell the AI every 5 minutes to check the loading and tell us if it sees anything out of the ordinary. So it pulls its DMP points. You add some DMP points to your data source that it can pull and access. So it pulls those, and maybe it comes up and says that all 4 transformers have the same load throughout the day, but T3 gets twice as hot. Its temperature is twice as much as the others. So clearly something's different about T3. This is an example of something that a human would never notice, but things that could be picked up with AI monitoring loops. So we'll have to lean on the community and work with some of the users to see what kind of prompts we can come up with together and what kind of things can we detect that might not have been detectable before. Data sources, right? So we already talked about that. What protocol do you want? Modbus, DMP, OPC UA, SQL, and even REST API outreach for these. You can talk directly with the models, whether it's your local model or cloud model, and it can have the context of your data that you're pulling. So if you want to ask it, what does it notice about this data set? Here just to run through some of the settings you can set up, email, SMS, webhooks, Teams, Slack integration, logging, set your API keys, and so on and so forth. I think that's all for today. And we'll come back to this as we get this more rolled out and we've got some more user cases to share. But if you have any good ideas for monitoring loops and what kind of prompts that we can build or what you might need on your system, please reach out and let's see what we can build together.